Hello and welcome back to Eden's Reach. We'll be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after you ended up meeting Benji at the gun range while Oswald was trying to help you, or no, he wasn't helping. He was just showing off, and Benji for some reason decided to shoot at your ear. Because that's I guess how raccoons introduce themselves. They shoot people's ear. Anyways, well, let's see what happens after that. I slowly drift off deep into my own mind where all I see is endless darkness. Normally, whenever I have moments like these, I'm rendered completely helpless while a horrid nightmare creeps in. I can't even form any cognitive thought during those times, as I seem to simply exist as a witness to the conjured images being laid out before me. This time, however, I managed to think and contemplate coherently, despite being fully aware that I'm still sound asleep. Nothing morbid comes to even reveal itself from this void, too. It's oddly tranquil, yet there's still this unsettling feeling that never seems to leave my abstract being. Is. Is this a moment for me to think to myself? I suppose I really haven't had time to sit down and think about everything that's happened. Alright then, let's do this. Oswald nods before we stop. It seems like our respective rooms are across from each other. How convenient. After I tell myself those words, the void melts and readjusts itself into the image of the Midnight Sun's base main hall. It's quite fuzzy and muddled, especially in the edges of my vision, though. Huh. It seems like whatever I think of comes to life here. Is this what lucid dreaming is like? I remember Dylan telling me a lot about it and how fun and exhilarating these experiences can be. Since I'm here anyways, I suppose I'll go ahead and indulge myself. This is certainly a lot less detailed than the real thing, but I can clearly tell that over there is Alice's usual workstation with all the panels floating around. It's all jumbled up though, with some screens overlapping and her main panel being a chaotic arrangement of different shortcuts and folders. By the sofa set on the other end of the room, there's a coffee table filled with candy wrappers. No, they're too big to be just wrappers. If only I could get a closer look. And just like that, the scenery zooms in onto the coffee table. I'm then able to take a closer look at the wrappers. These are milk chocolate cubes from a famous manufacturer, too. It's a shame that I can't eat them for being a canine. I wonder who eats this many chocolates anyways. It can't be Max. Could it? I'd rather a meteor shower will hit Bayline City right now than believe that. Maybe Oswald? But he's a canine too, so... Oswald. His likeness appears before me, simply standing there with that signature smile of his. His gentle gaze meets mine, never breaking eye contact as his face flushes red. How odd. Everyone else seems to be wary, even hostile towards me. Except you. Why are you so different? Your kindness and concern. Where does it come from? Out of everyone that I've encountered in this waking nightmare, you just seem to be the greatest mystery of them all. I stir slowly from my deep sleep, feeling neither light nor heavy. It's as if my whole body's gone numb and confused, not knowing what it should feel. What a surreal experience. I can still see the faint silhouette of that hunky wolf in my vision, but it quickly disappears as soon as I take notice. I try to take my surroundings in slowly once more, still the same, slightly dusty and mostly empty room. I then decide to check the time on my phone once blood starts properly recirculating through my entire body again. It's way later into the afternoon. Wouldn't someone have woken me up by now? I worriedly jump out of the bed and rush towards the hallway, my heart steadily sinking, feeling as if I've done something wrong again. The door slides open and I run through it at full speed, not even being aware of my surroundings. What meets me on the other side is a tall figure that I bump into. knocking me off balance before I fall flat on my face. Gah! What in the... I quickly pick myself back up and look hurriedly at what I just bumped into. Much to my surprise, it was Benji, who's holding rolls of some kind of material, some of which are currently on the floor. Ugh, I do not want to have another altercation with him. The last thing I need is for both my ears to be bandaged. You should really watch where you're going, you know. He gives me a mischievous smirk while he keeps his eyes on me. I sigh as I stand up. Yep, I'm aware. If strangers were to see you like that, they'd think you were a lunatic. Benji moves towards my side, giggling like an asshole. So, you think I'm a lunatic? Oh, please. You make it sound like we're complete strangers. But we are, though. Benji chuckles to himself. My. So cold and hostile. Where even is that coming from? Ugh. Tell that to the bandaged ear, I swear. What is it with this guy? Gah. I don't have time for this, I'm late. Late? For what exactly? Training or something? I don't know. Just leave me alone. I start walking away when Benji suddenly stops me in my tracks. Training? From who? Oswald? Who else? Benji doesn't bother to stifle his chuckle anymore. He instead grasps my shoulder, causing my entire being to flinch. Well, before you go and make a fool of yourself, I have to mention that Oswald isn't going to be here for the majority of the day. He has work today. What? What work? Oh, I don't know. The bar? They have alternating work days. I don't like what that insinuates. Well, if you don't believe me, you can ask him on the way. Oh, and... Benji makes audible sniffing noises before continuing. Wait. Did he just sniff me? You need a shower. When was the last time you cleaned yourself? Well, 2 days ago? Unacceptable. Come with me. The showers are this way. Benji begins to pace away from me. I take a moment to sniff myself and... Oh geez, I really do need a bath. I hesitantly follow the raccoon, covering any of my stinky parts on the way there. We reach the entrance to the shower shortly. The faint trickling of pouring water echoes across the halls. Seems like some people are already in. Best be quick about the rinse then. I don't want to encounter anyone in their birthday suit after all. You can throw your clothes in the hamper over there. Towels are over there, and anything you might need for the shower should be inside the stall. Thanks. He immediately leaves me to do my dirty work, literally, and I intend to be quick about it. I hesitantly disrobe and take a towel to cover my unmentionables, quickly pacing through each stall, looking for an empty one. 2 of the stalls at the front seem to be occupied already, so I decide to just take the one next to it. As I get ready to go in, though, someone exits the stall directly next to me. Wait! A wet, dripping, and bulky wolf emerges from the shower's mist, without a towel to cover his... what's-its. Ah, that felt nice. Now, where's the towel? Oswald and I lock gazes, both of us pausing to process what it is that we're currently witnessing. When it finally sinks in, our faces immediately turn red. Don't look! The wolf stammers as he hesitantly covers up his nether regions and his arm. My legs suddenly feel like jelly, and I'm unable to move anywhere, let alone shimmy towards the stalls. That raccoon. He must have known this would happen. Ugh. Fuck me. Wait. What are you standing there for? Get in! I can't. Then, just as I'm thinking that things couldn't get any worse, another pair of wet footsteps walks out of another occupied stall. Yo, Oz, you said you needed... Oh, just kill me already. Get in the stall! Yes, sir. My body immediately reacts, and I quickly place myself inside the stall, finally feeling like I was starting to calm down. Man, what an absolute disaster. As if I didn't need to make things any more awkward between me and that hot-headed tiger. That sexy, sexy tiger. Not to mention any more hostile. I can still hear them talking outside. It's muffled, though. Alright, I think I've calmed down enough. Time to do the one thing I came here for. I place my towel on the metal rack, then turn the center knob slowly. The shower begins flowing with a soft trickle of water. This way? I turn the right knob more. The water then becomes hotter and falls harder, with steam beginning to form. Nope, too hot, too hot! I hurriedly turn the right knob back, then begin turning the left knob. The heat then suddenly turns into a chilling flow. Cold shock! I continue to experiment with the water temperature, wanting to get it just right. After finding the perfect temperature, I proceed to rinse the rest of my body while letting my eyes wander to see where the shampoo is. After finally finding the rather small-sized bottle on the metal rack, I pick it up and check how much of its contents is left. It's already half empty. I guess someone would tell me that it's also half full, but then again, it's not gonna get me any more shampoo. I squeeze the bluish-white liquid as hard as I can, squirting it onto my palm in a satisfying swirl. After pouring out enough for my whole body, I put the bottle back down, turn the water off, then proceed to lather myself. I try to work my way around the bandaged ear when I get there. After everything seems covered, I turn the water back on and rinse myself thoroughly from the tip of my ears to the tip of my toes. Good thing the bandage is hydrophobic, otherwise that would have posed some problems. There we go. After closing the shower, I look for the air dryer button out of instinct. My old apartment had it, and it was always a big help in drying off my fur instead of just a towel afterwards. To my disappointment, this stall didn't have any. I sigh in resignation. I miss my old apartment already. Why did this even have to happen? I wrap the towel around my waist, expecting my clothes to be where I left them. Instead, they're nowhere to be seen. Where am I? Psst. Huh? To my surprise, Oswald is still there, with the towel now wrapped around his waist, hiding all of his manly glory. There seems to be some sort of hollow tattoo on his left arm. I'm surprised he has one, and so big too. I was fully expecting him to be long gone at this point. He doesn't seem to be embarrassed anymore. Instead, he's sporting his usual demeanor. Are you okay? I hope what you saw didn't... It's fine, Oswald. Let's just forget it ever happened, okay? Adrian. Oswald trails off a bit, but quickly recomposes himself. Okay, maybe that's for the best. Oswald sighs before moving towards the exit. Your clothes are over there. I'll see you later, Adrian. Wait! Oswald looks at me expectantly, pulling his puppy eyes on me. Oswald, I just wanted to ask... Yeah? When are you gonna be training me? I ask, wanting to confirm what Benji said earlier. Oh, I'm actually not the one doing that today. Oh, wait, then who's gonna do it? Benji will. I had to work at the bar today, so just try to have more patience with him, okay? Trust me, it'll be worth it. A pit in my stomach forms just thinking about spending more time with Benji, but I guess I really have no say in it. Alright, if you say so. Oswald nods to me before leaving towards the hallway. I simply sigh as I check the clothes that Oswald left for me. Let's see here. The clothes are neatly folded with a note on top of it. What's this? Meet me in the training room, B. Oh, great. I dry myself off with a towel, just enough to wear the clothes without getting them damp. I put on said clothes begrudgingly, knowing these came from Benji. To my surprise, they're actually a perfect fit. I wonder how the raccoon pulled that off. Welp, time to get this over with. After finishing that whole fiasco, I try to recompose myself before showing my face to Benji. I bet he planned for me to see their manly parts. After this point, I don't even know how he wants to end me. I'm debating which one's better, though. The bullet or by my own heat. Alright, calm down, Adrian. I'm supposed to look decent, not all flustered. That'll probably just give him the satisfaction he wants. I take one deep breath before turning towards the training room where I see the raccoon standing at the shooting range. He isn't stationary on one of the rows, however. He's strafing from left to right, shooting vigorously at each target. It's quite impressive, even more impressive than how accurate Oswald was yesterday. Hey Benji. No answer. He just gives a glance my way before shooting one more round through the rows. I sit down on one of the benches and proceed to just observe him silently. To my surprise, even with how fast and loose he's being, all of the rows are pinging bullseye. I'm left dumbfounded at how much skill that has to take, let alone how much brain power that has to consume. It's starting to make my head hurt, but I quickly snap back to reality when Benji looks my way. Your turn. What? I'm not going to have to drag you all the way here, am I? Oh, right. Sorry. I stand up and quickly position myself as Benji grabs a pistol from the row in front of me. He hands it to me after I properly position myself. I look at it rather hesitantly. I never thought I'd ever have the need to handle firearms in my entire life. I look to Benji, who's giving me a rather judgmental look. Adrian. Yes? Have you ever handled a gun before? No. Benji strokes his chin, thinking of something. Alright. Benji looks at me intently, removing his hand from his jacket's pocket. He sluggishly points towards the gun, creating a circling motion afterwards. First of all, get your finger off the trigger. You might accidentally pop someone's eye out. I looked at my hand and quickly fumbled to place my index finger somewhere else, almost dropping the gun in the process. What? Just plant it on the barrel. The barrel? The long thing where the bullet gets shot out of. I do as I'm told, placing my finger on the barrel. Huh. So that's what it's called. I could hear Benji sigh under his breath. Right. Next thing. I continue to observe the gun when I hear a muffled thump onto one of the benches. I glance in the direction of the sound only to see Benji standing there without his jacket on. Underneath is a tank top. Okay, he looks a lot leaner without it. I suppose that comes with being a thief, but still, he's quite well built. I can see some semblance of muscle on his arms. Adrian, you're, drooling. Huh? I wipe my muzzle off quickly to see that I am indeed slobbering. God, I thought I already grew past my dog slobbering phase in high school. Okay. You're quite weird, Adrian. Oh, I am? Yes, but in a good way, of course. Shelve those puppy eyes for me. It's the lifeblood of this group, after all. Benji then moves closer and positions himself behind me, seeming like he's observing every possible angle of my entire being. It was a little off-putting, like I'm being inspected for doing something wrong. Alright, now for your shooting form. Got it. How do I do that? Before that. Benji clears his throat. How was the shower? I almost immediately choke on my own saliva and tense up. I start feeling flushed as blood rushes up to my head, making me sweat profusely. Oh geez, I bet I'm tomato red under all the fur right now. I then begin to feel my entire being shriveling up from embarrassment. Suddenly, a pair of hands firmly grasp my hips, holding me still. This stiff, intense feeling. Don't forget it when you get ready to shoot. Benji lets go of my hips after a few moments, then begins trailing his hands onto my shoulders. Keep these as relaxed as you can, though. Now, raise the gun and aim at the target. I expected Benji to let go of my shoulders as I raised the gun, but he doesn't. Quite the opposite, actually. The more I raise my hands, the more he presses down on my shoulders, making my entire arm feel weird and weak. Like this? You're naturally tensing up. Of course, it's to be expected, but... He quickly moves to my side before lightly smacking my back. Proper posture. You aren't a hunchback, so you have no excuse pressuring your diaphragm. Benji then moves in front of me, avoiding the path of the gunshot. He adjusts my arms further, then places a hand on my chest. It's a lot easier to shoot when you're breathing steadily. Try it. I do as he says, breathing in and out slowly. It becomes a lot more smooth the more I do it, and it feels rather relieving, making the remaining tension from my shoulders abate a bit. See? You get it. Yeah, sort of. Good. Next. Benji moves behind me again. Then, out of nowhere, he smacks my butt. What the hell? Spread the legs a bit more. Keep them balanced, else you'll topple over with bigger guns. Oh, you, didn't really have to smack my ass, though. I trail off while looking directly at Benji's straight, emotionless face. He doesn't seem to be kidding around with that. Now, this isn't going to make your aim better, but it's going to put as many odds into letting you line up your shots easier. Shooting with accuracy is a skill that takes time, like all things, but utilizing these principles can weigh the gunfight more in your favor. Got it? I just nod as I gulp down from nervousness. I feel like I'm about to puke with how weird this pose feels. Alright, now, place your finger on the trigger and try to control the upward force from the recoil. I half-heartedly do so, hesitating to pull the trigger. I can't dawdle for long though, especially with Benji watching me so intently. I pull the trigger and I hear a muffled shot escaping the barrel and a bit of recoil surging through my body. Huh. Second base. Not bad for a first shot. You can tell? Yep. Says right there. He points towards the panel next to the row, displaying a hole in the circle, in between the smallest and second smallest circle. Oh, that's where my shot went? Essentially. I immediately try to loosen up when Benji grunts at me. Hey, who said you can relax? I thought we were done. Not until you empty the whole magazine, you aren't. Now, get as close to the center as possible. Yes, sir. Fuck, I said that out of instinct. I never knew Benji could be so authoritarian. He never exuded that aura at all, as far as I've seen. I try to replicate the form Benji taught me. Leg spread, okay. Breathing, clear. Shoulders, relaxed. Okay, now calm down. I managed to eventually empty the whole magazine, each shot taking a few minutes to prepare before pulling the trigger though. I could see in my peripherals that Benji was stifling a chuckle or two as he watched me, covering it up under his hand. Alright, that's enough, Adrian. Thanks, God. I almost absent-mindedly fling the gun back onto its previous position on the table, not even noticing how sweaty I've gotten. So much for that shower half an hour ago. We'll take a break for the rest of the day. We still need a week to go through, so we'll have the opportunity to work on it some more. Do we still have to do this tomorrow? Not like you have any other plans at the moment, no. I groan a bit more while sitting down, almost feeling like I might melt onto the bench while I hear footsteps from the entrance. Knock knock? Am I interrupting anything? Oh, Oswald. Are you gonna open up shop now? I immediately stand to greet Oswald. Finally, he's not in his birthday suit. Instead, he's wearing the same kind of suit he wore in the bar. He must be done getting ready for work. Not yet, Benji. I think I forgot my deodorant and perfume somewhere. They aren't in my room. Oh dear, what a tragedy. I don't suppose you think that... Someone stole it? Oh geez, the raccoon's got thief jokes. Not funny, Benji. I know you wouldn't steal my crap even if your life depended on it. I am a supporter of the natural sense, yes. Why would I want what people manufacture? Oswald gives the raccoon a rather disgusted look. I think he got the same idea that I did when Benji said that. So he's into Musk. Didn't land, huh? Ugh. It's right next to the boxing ring. What the hell? Benji looks at Oswald, then at me rather flippantly. I don't think that was supposed to happen. I use vanilla extract, thank you very much. Oswald comes back, 2 spray cans at hand. He seems to have already sprayed them on the way here. He has a distinct, rather strong smell of men's deodorant. You're no fun, Oz. Oswald nods with a smile, but his expression changes when he looks my way. He's wearing a rather guilty expression, then his face contorts to annoyance when he looks back at Benji once more. I hope you're not overworking him for your own sake. Kind of hard to, especially with only a week's deadline to make him ready for the mission. Oswald briefly bares his teeth, making violent gestures in Benji's way. I'm taken aback at how protective Oswald is of me. I intervene for Benji's sake. It's okay, Oswald. I'll be fine. Besides, I kinda do need to keep up with you guys if I don't want to, you know. Oswald's clearly surprised, looking a little embarrassed as he slowly backs away. Oh, don't worry, Adrian. I'll make sure nothing happens to you. Don't worry, yeah? I happily nod at him, both of us blushing before Oswald excuses himself. Well, I have to open the bar now. Take care of him, Benji. I'm not his babysit. Oh, why do I even bother? Oswald rushes back towards the entrance, leaving Benji and me alone. There he goes again. Benji seems rather exhausted after the interaction, much more than when he was training me. I swear that wolf can be a handful, especially because of... Benji eyes me from head to toe. I awkwardly try to cover myself up with his gaze, just being so judging. It's nuts. He might as well be a squirrel instead. Adrian. Yeah? If we're gonna spend so much time together, I should definitely learn more about you. Me? What's so special about me? Maybe about why you wanted to be a DJ. Oh, that. It's just a really cheesy story. Benji changes his position, signaling how intently he's listening. I clear my throat as I slightly reposition myself as well, ready to tell this story. Well, I didn't really grow up in a normal family. How so? If I had to describe it, it would be, I guess, abusive? I don't really know. It wasn't like I was hit or anything. Oh. My parents, well, we lived in the countryside. Simple life, you know. We were only supposed to dream as big as the town that you were raised in, and, well, that was about as far as I could get with my parents. I immediately start to feel like tearing up. In an instant, I feel a gentle touch on my back. I look to Benji, who was giving me an uncharacteristically concerned look. I was a big fan of music. Whenever I told my parents anything besides what they wanted for me, I kind of just ran for it. Soon, high school came around. Pretty gloomy, so I started sharing my playlists. People liked it, so I thought, hey, why don't I make my own music? Benji gives me an approving look before I continue with my story. I went to college with a friend. Name's Dylan. He was and still is my biggest fan, if you could call him that. He was the last nail in the coffin for me to really strive for DJing, really connect with people, bring them together. Knew I spotted a pacifist. What? Benji refuses to continue. However, he instead eyes my bandaged ear. I'm sorry for grazing that. Oh, this? It's not a big deal. Oswald says it should be healed by now, but... That's... strange. I hate to say this, but... let the cat check it out. She'll hear you from the infirmary. Oh, you sure? Benji nods, helping me stand. He takes back his jacket and wears it once more, placing his hands back into his pockets. I make my way to the infirmary, but Benji stops me midway. Adrian, wait. Yeah, what is it? Tomorrow, when we train, I'll be less strict. Really? Why the change? You seem to respond better to that approach. Besides, I did say that I wanted to get a closer look at you, and now I have. Uh, okay. I'll see you later then, Benji. I leave towards the infirmary, hoping to see Ellie soon. Maybe Oswald wrapped my bandage wrong, so it hasn't healed yet? I guess I'll find out soon. Meanwhile, Adrian, you're only a child, yet you remind me of him so much. How can someone who grew up in the dark have such an empathic heart? I turn at the bend, the light of the infirmary illuminating the dim hallway. I survey the surroundings. No sign of life can be found. I sheepishly look around the nooks and crannies for Ellie, hoping that she has those cat-like invisibility powers all felines I've met seem to have. After a few minutes of searching, however, I still came up empty-handed. I do not need another workout today. This life will certainly need some getting used to. I resign myself to sitting on one of the examination tables, just catching my breath. As I do, the door opposite of me whirls before quietly opening up, with Ellie appearing from the room on the other side with a tray of beakers and flasks. Alright, that should be all this week's extracts. Now for the reagent inventory check. She places the tray under the shelves, without even taking notice of me. She seems to be deep in thought, so I try to gently catch her attention. Ellie? And then we could change the potassium chloride for white phosphorus for the projectile grenades. Oh geez, looks like being gentle isn't going to nab her attention. Ellie? But for the smoke trailers, we could stick with the chloride. Ellie! Sweet light of Eden! She jolts upwards, her fur all bristled. I guess I went too far. Hi there? Oh, it's just you. Is there anything you need? I notice that she's still shivering from the shock, so I try to talk a bit more slowly than usual. Um, it's about this bandage? The one on your ear? But that shouldn't be on for more than a few minutes. Did Oswald forget to trigger it? To trigger it? Oh, well, Edenite medical equipment works quite differently. Let me see here. She inches closer towards me and reaches out for the bandage, then begins to tickle it. Though the ear is covered, I can still feel her paw trailing across the surface. It starts making my ear twitch. What are you doing? Agitating the bandage. It's made of a polymer that releases spores, which then accelerate the healing process. Now, please try to stay still. She continues to trace her finger across the bandage, then I start feeling a lot chiller. At first, it was as if a breeze started blowing at me. Then I felt my legs going numb. My hands then began tickling. My vision started to blur a bit too, with my head aching in tandem with it. Ugh. Hmm? Oh, right. The blood flow will start coagulating in the area, so you might feel some imbalances. It should go away after a bit. Her trailing stops, and the bandage begins to fall on its own, its threads falling onto my muzzle, which Ellie quickly takes and crumbles before promptly disposing. She pulls herself closer to the wound and examines it thoroughly. Is it alright? It's healed, but... But what? I guess you'll just have to see for yourself. I blow out air in anxiety. I take out my phone and turn on its front camera to look. It seems fine, except... a part of it is chipped off? It's just gone! What the hell? Why is it still chipped off? Oh, the bandage just accelerated the healing process, but... it doesn't magically regenerate the body parts itself. Oh, fuck. Everyone's gonna think I'm some sort of troublemaker if I keep getting shit like these. Well, Adrian, it is a bit unavoidable in this line of work. I grimace at the thought of more scars like these. I mean, Oswald gets shit like this, and he comes out of it a sexy beast. But as for me, well, I sigh before facing Ellie once more. I guess it can't really be helped. Thanks, Ellie. Oh, no problem, Adrian. She surprisingly becomes quite flustered at my gratitude. I guess she really is just easily flushed. I thought she was like that only towards Benji, but now it doesn't seem like a specific thing. Then again, Benji constantly patronizing her on top of the constant antagonizing probably isn't helping, either. Anyways, I stand from the examination table and start walking towards the exit. Going to go and see if I can... Wait! Ellie sheepishly stops me. Adrian, I require something that needs... Ellie trails off at the last few words into a mumble. Needs what? You... Yes... She continues to mumble to herself, and I just stand there in confusion. Your... measurements... My what? Well... just come with me, please. I hesitate to go with her, skeptical about the direction she's headed. She seems to be inching towards a lab, and a part of me just feels squeamish to go in there, especially because of the impression I got from Alice's warnings. Can't you just get them here? Well, my scanning equipment is in there, so... An awkward silence follows. I suppose I shouldn't be giving Ellie a hard time. Something tells me it'll be a lot more trouble than it's worth to upset Ellie. I sigh in resignation. Fine. Let's go into your lab then. Ellie's face relaxes with relief. Alright, this way please. Ellie meekly points towards the door she comes from, which makes my uneasiness resurface. I try my best to stifle it as I follow her, constantly telling myself that this isn't going to be as bad as it's starting to look. I wrap my arms gently around myself as the cat opens the door and ushers me in. After the door opens, though, a surprising scent of fragrant flowers and other greenery overwhelms my nose. Oh, I forgot that canines like you have a more acute sense of smell compared to others. Well, please allow yourself to acclimate to it. It's not the least bit harmful, I assure you. I just nod while rubbing my nose a bit. It feels like it's pollen season all over again. As soon as I enter, I immediately understand why so many varied scents are in the air. This entire place is filled to the brim with different kinds of plants in all shapes and sizes. Ellie trails some of the leaves that she passes by as she heads into the direction of the smaller room, examining a few of the flasks and other containers. I stand there, extremely dumbfounded, and just stare blankly at all the plants. So... Ellie? Wait a moment, still calibrating the systems. More silence, only broken by the rustling of leaves, the continuous whirls of the machines, and the occasional clink of glass. Ellie passes by in quick bursts, taking a piece from a nearby leaf, then going some under the counters, then stores a beaker or two into a sealed container. It's quite a mesmerizing sight, kind of like watching Dylan mixing drinks. I do wonder, how is he holding up? I'm gonna have to tell him that, for the most part, I'm doing alright. I'm just not sure if he knows of all the goings-on in his place of work. Adrian, it's time for me to, My measurements? Yes, and for that, you may have to... She stutters more, her face becoming more and more flushed. I raise an eyebrow at her, confused what she wants me to do. Strip. Oh, fucking hell, no way! Strip? Eep. Why do I have to be? I'm sorry. It's just that I need to examine you in full. I try to hide my embarrassment, tugging at my clothes tightly as if it'll prevent me from ever stripping in front of her. Ellie also seems to be shivering up like me. She's definitely not comfortable with this either. I sigh once more, immediately understanding one thing. If we both want to get this over with, I just have to comply. Oh, alright. Really? I begin to take off my shirt and pants. I try my best to expel every single embarrassing feeling off of my body as I slowly strip down to my underwear. To my surprise, Ellie seems unfazed by it, remaining as timid as she normally seems to be around everyone. She continues to wait expectingly to get onto my birthday suit, and I just have no choice on the matter whatsoever. Taking a deep breath, I take off my underwear in one swift motion, my sheath in full view. Ugh. Alright, this way please. She ushers me onto a lit platform. I try to shimmy my way through the tight space that is her lab. I've been covering my unmentionables with my paws, waves of embarrassment never ceasing to wash over me. Well, at least I don't stink, or else that's another thing I'd have to be embarrassed about. Alright, Adrian, stand straight and keep all of your extremities within the square. The scan will begin soon. Okay. Ellie moves to the computer, typing in things I can barely see as she prepares the device. When she presses enter, the device lights up with multiple light sensors that pass over my body in quick succession, both in top to bottom and left to right motions. I try my best to stay as stiff and as straight as possible, keeping my crotch out of her view, and before I even know it, the scan has finished. Alright, quite average numbers. Average? Is she calling me average? Well, that just hurts my feelings indirectly. Oh, does that mean I can go now? Not yet. I still have to do my personal examination. Your what? Please calm down. It's only a physical exam. You don't have to worry. I falter a bit while Ellie takes out her stethoscope. She places the 2 earpieces in and begins pressing the diaphragm onto my chest. Normal heart rate. Good. That's weird. Ellie only gives me a passing glance before continuing to push onto my chest. Alright, please turn around. I'm not sure if I want to. Ellie doesn't hesitate. Instead, I hear her pressing a button, and that spins the platform, revealing to her my backside. Aha! She presses down with the diaphragm again, but in a different location, on my back this time. Now, take a deep breath for me. I hesitate to do so. She's quick to take the stethoscope off after she's done. I turn my head to face her, feeling completely violated. Is it finally over? One more thing. Can you please take your hands off your sheath? I gasp loudly. No way. I immediately curl up in an attempt to cover what's left of my dignity, to which she reacts by just staring at me, wide-eyed. Adrian, please, just let me take a quick look. I just need a second or two. It'll be quick. I promise. I can't. Ellie sighs to herself. Just a glance, please. She looks at me with the pleading eyes, and I do have to admit, they're quite effective. I start actually feeling bad. I may be giving her too much of a hard time. She doesn't seem to be deriving any sort of pleasure or joy out of this entire experience any more than I am. Am I being too selfish? I begrudgingly do as she says, slowly revealing my sheath to her. Just like she said, it only takes a few seconds of glancing at it before signaling me to cover it up again. To see? Just a quick glance, that's all. How many times do I have to do this? Ellie moves her bangs as she studies the results on her tablet, after which she looks back at me. It was merely to check if you're in good health, and for the new gear, I'm tasked with preparing for you. She takes out some rolls of cloth, and immediately something becomes familiar about them. Though I didn't take a hard look before, I'm pretty sure those are the same rolls that Benji had with him when I bumped into him. Aren't they at bad terms? Why would Benji do something that remotely involves Ellie? So many questions, yet so little time for answers. It seems to be the modus operandi around here. and it's starting to get annoying. Is that so? Yes, it's to make sure that you're as comfortable as possible. I'm aware that you're quite uneasy in our base as it is, so I simply... She trails off again. Seems like she doubts herself whether she's doing a good thing or not. She certainly reminds me of someone, a guy that Dylan would often scold back in college. Why am I beating around the bush about it? I know he was only setting me straight. I feel like I'd be more comfortable with him here. He knows me best after all. Uneasy, huh? I guess you could say that. Ellie notices that I'm deep in thought, so she clears her throat. Sorry, did I remind you of something? I stammer at her spot-on assessment. You're quite observant. She places the rolls of cloth onto her desk and then takes a towel under it before handing it to me. Here you go. I'll let you change and cool down. You can leave afterwards. Thanks, Ellie. I wrap the towel around my waist and grab my clothes. There's a room next to Ellie's lab where I can change. It's a lot smaller, so small that I think only Ellie and I can fit in here. I quickly put my clothes back on and leave the towel in the room. I leave the small room, but as I make my way towards the exit, I take a glance back in Ellie's direction. A part of me doesn't just want to leave. I'm not going to let myself go with their MO. I take a deep breath and approach Ellie's. Adrian? Hey. I said you were free to leave, so why aren't you? Her tone has a more curious tone than that of anger. She turns from her seat to fully face me as I take a seat next to hers. I just wanted to talk, you know. It's not like I have anything better to do. Ellie raises an eyebrow at me. Didn't you have some training to do with Benji, though? I already had, actually. He sent me here after to have my ear fixed up. Ellie clicks her teeth, her hackles raising in suspicion. That doesn't sound like him. What do you mean? He did cause the injury in the first place, no? I am taken aback at Ellie's frankness. Well, yes? An awkward silence fills the room. I'm unsure what to say, and I don't feel like beating around the bush will progress this conversation anywhere. Those rolls, they came from Benji, right? Ellie looks at them and then starts getting flushed. Yes, what about it? I don't know, it kind of feels weird that he does that, yet he says that he doesn't want to associate himself with you at all. Ellie's posture deflates, a deep sigh escaping her breath. I guess I was too direct. I'm sorry. No, you're right. He doesn't want anything to do with me. She clenches her fists on her lab coat. You're bothered by it, aren't you? She nods at me meekly before turning to her desk. I roll my chair next to hers and make eye contact. It's not the hate and disdain that I'm bothered by. It's the reasons why. She glances at me and quickly recomposes herself. Not that you have anything to worry about, of course. This is just the way it's always been. I click my teeth and raise my brow at her. Do you know why? She shakes her head. I gently touch her shoulder, our eyes meeting for a bit. It's a mystery to me. All I know is that he only scowls at me and treats me like I'm a huge bother to him. Sometimes, even simply breathing seems to offend him. Have you tried asking him about it? Huh? Well, the only way to find the answer to this mystery is to ask him yourself. If he can't give an answer, then he's hating on you without any logical reason, and you'll have to be confronted with that fact. If he does, then you'll know what's wrong, and you can at least see if the problems are with you or with him. Ellie stares wide-eyed at me. Has she never really considered actually confronting Benji? I guess that makes sense. She doesn't seem to want to be in anyone's way. Right now, though, that's her biggest enemy. I don't know if I can, Adrian. He won't even let me see the light of day when it comes to socializing. I put Ellie to face me, and she stiffens up as I do so. That's exactly why you have to confront him. I don't know Benji as well as you do, but I can sort of tell that he doesn't push twice. What? If he pushes you and you stay down, that's the end of the line. But people who he pushes and they stand their ground, they seem to catch his attention longer than anything. Adrian, I don't know if it's... She's still in doubt. I can understand that, but nothing's gonna happen if she stays like this. At the very least, she has to consider it. Come on, Adrian, think. A friend once told me something that stuck with me ever since that point in my life. What? Regretting in silence is the crappiest feeling ever. Better to let it out than to keep it bottled up inside. Is that so? Ellie thinks for a moment. She looks around aimlessly, clearly debating something. After a few minutes of silence, she looks at me. I'll think about it, but I can't just ignore all the work and clutter I have in my lab. Then let me help you. That way you can focus on thinking. Adrian, why do you care so much? Well... I think for a moment. This has been mostly just my feelings overriding my judgment, but I'm already too deep into it to go back now. I've already committed to finding out the mysteries of this group and this whole situation as a whole, and if I had another person to help me solve those mysteries, best I take them. Think of it as a personal thing. If you say so. I won't pry if you don't want to say. Ellie takes a basket filled with flasks of chemicals and other liquids and hands it to me. First, I'll need these to be relocated to the infirmary. I'll tell you what you have to do afterwards. You got it. I enthusiastically take the basket and start marching to the infirmary. But be careful it doesn't spill. Oh dear. Later that day. That should be the last thing that needs doing around here. Now to take a well-deserved break. I carefully place the last empty basket under Alice's counter and crash onto the lounger's sofa. Phew, that was a workout. Who knew she had so many baskets? I puff out a large exhale as I slowly sink into the soft foam. I swear I could just take a nap right here. That is, if there wasn't some faint knocking coming from in front of me. I jolt upwards and the whiplash from the sudden movement causes an imbalance of blood circulation, hitting me a bit hard afterwards. I take a moment to wait for my vision to return to normal, but as soon as it does, I see Oswald leaning on the doorframe, a smile plastered on his face. Oswald! Hey there! I jump off the sofa to greet him, as he looks at me with a smirk. I don't really know what's gotten him in such a good mood, but I'm not that curious to ask either. He's here now, and that makes me feel a lot safer. So, how was training, Adrian? Benji didn't give you a hard time, yeah? Training. Well, it was... Suddenly, a large figure appears behind Oswald and pushes him off the doorway. Oswald nearly crashes onto me, but he manages to stop himself midway. He then immediately gazes at the figure who turned out to be Max. Blocking the way, Oz. Didn't have to shove me, though. Whatever. Besides, you might forget to tell the pup. A hit in your head might help jog your memory. Max then leaves in the direction of the hallway, disappearing into the bend. I look at Oswald questioningly. Tell me what? Oswald blinks at me for a moment before lighting up in realization. Oh yeah, I told Dylan about your... situation? My situation? Oh. Yeah, I told him that you were alright, and that you were bunking with me. I give him a suspicious look. Wouldn't that be a bit... concerning from his point of view? Oswald thinks for a moment. Maybe. He didn't seem to mind, though. I see. Does Dylan know about... all this? I gesture all around me. Slight surprise forms on Oswald's face from that question. He tugs his collar afterwards, exhaling a large puff of air. Not really. Well, not at all, I hope. Well, I guess that makes sense. Oswald places his paw on my shoulder. Don't worry, Adrian. The less people who know about this, the less people that'll be hurt because of us. That doesn't really ease my conscience. The wolf sighs as he lets go of me. I had a feeling it wouldn't. Just please stay strong for us, yeah? I take a deep breath, giving Oswald the best smile that I can give. Alright, I will. For the team. Oswald nods, walking towards the hallway to the rooms. I need to get changed. Talk to you later, yeah? I nod at him, and off he goes to his room. A little bit after he disappears from my view, Benji exits from the same hallway. Oh, Adrian. Figures you're the first thing the wolf sees to have a grin like that plastered on his face. He walks towards me in a rather relaxed manner while sporting a mischievous smirk. I sit back down on the sofa and recompose myself before facing Benji. Hello to you too, Benji. What do you mean by a big grin like that? Benji chuckles, crossing his arms as he strokes his chin. Well, you're quick to study, so I doubt you'll need my input to reach a verdict. Is that so? A second opinion wouldn't hurt. True, but I'm interested in solo conclusions. I laugh Benji's remarks off because I know he's right. I am smart enough to know what he's insinuating. It feels a bit too convenient and weird that he's so happy around me. It doesn't help that that's the only lead that I've got on the guy. Alright, I'll keep you posted. Only if I ask for it, of course. As Benji and I continue our playful banter, Alice walks in with Ellie. Alright, that makes 4. Where's the last 2? Back in their rooms, changing. Should be here any minute now. Alice nods, tapping Ellie on the arm. The cat quickly walks to the corner opposite where Benji and I are. I wonder if she's done making up her mind. It's been a few hours since I've asked her to think about it. Hey Benji, mind if I have a minute? Not at all, darling. Ugh, just come with me. Haha, of course, of course. Benji turns to me. Why don't you keep her company? Girl's a disappointing mess. I stifle my slight annoyance at Benji and nod at him. He's really hell-bent on keeping Ellie at arm's length, huh? I walk towards Ellie, and she's clearly shaken by Benji's presence. I hope it doesn't affect her decision. Hey Ellie, you doing okay? Ellie looks at me briefly before recomposing herself, but keeping her hands clasped still. I'm alright, Adrian. It's just my homeostatic reaction to his presence. What? Force of habit. Ah. Anything I can do to help? No. I'll just have to get used to it, then I'll be back to normal. Alright. Let me know if you need anything, okay? I nod to her before turning to sit back on the couch, but the sound of her stuttering stops me. Adrian? Yes? I haven't made a decision yet. I sigh inwardly. Ellie, it's okay. Just take your time. No point rushing something as important as this. Alright. As I continue to try and comfort Ellie, Max and Oswald arrive from changing clothes. Good, the whole team is here. Sup? Alice presses the button which reveals all the panels on her PC. It catches our attention, even more so as Alice clasps her hands to actually catch our attention. Alright, gather around. Time for the team briefing. Benji's the first to take a seat, cross-legged at that, on a spare bar stool next to the couch. He takes the stool closer to the screen, positioning himself just in front of the couch. Ellie, on the other hand, takes a spare seat on the other end of the room to the side. Max takes Ellie's original spot behind the two. Oswald pushes the couch to the center of the room, a clear view of everything Alice has presented on the screen. He crashes onto it, his weight causing the couch to scoot back a bit. But he doesn't seem to care. He just looks at me before tapping the space next to him. Thanks. What if I don't want to sit next to you, huh? What if I want to sit next to the tiger? Nah, I'm good. I'm good with sitting next to Oswald. Don't mention it. Alice clears her throat as she pulls out her keyboard. Ahem. Now, let's get started. Alice flashes several images of a large, extravagant building. I am immediately able to recognize the kind of architecture and figure out that it's located somewhere in the uptown districts, up in the hills. It's supported by tall, intricate carved pillars by the entrance, with a large, man-made tunnel opening just in front of it. There will be a charity party that's going to be hosted by the Eating Corps here. Apparently, it's their usual practice to bolster the monetary support from the uptown residents. It's going to be held in the Uptown Community Center, where they will be importing a databank from Eden Island itself to track the guests. Oswald leans forward a bit from the couch, dispersing the weight forward. Yep, we've made that clear. We also know that the databank has some possible information regarding the next steps we'll take to take Eden Corpse down. Right. However, the same databank makes it extra hard to do long-range comms, as well as infiltrating the community center. It keeps track of guests going in and out in real time thanks to all the patrols. Luckily, Benji got us a way in. The possibility was a bit far-fetched at first. A contact of mine could have convinced the rearguard that we're staff and let us in. Adrian, however, changes that. After proposing a better course of action for the previous DJ, Adrian can fill that role instead. Once we're in, Adrian can be our surveillance as Alice's comms are offline once we're in. I start to shake a little at the realization of how vital I am to sell this whole alibi. The equipment that all three will need will be set just before the mission starts. I plan for most scenarios. The mission's gonna take place on a workday. I'll make sure the bar is safe while you guys are wreaking havoc. Alice nods before turning to her desk and taking out a small device from a drawer. She tosses it to Benji and the raccoon effortlessly catches it. Plug it into the databank once you get in there. It'll mine all the data and keep it safe until you get back to the base. Alice turns back to the panels again, switching the images from the schematics of the building to 5 profiles. They all seem to have code names in place of actual names. Also, I've got some bad news. Before the last mission's comms went dark, the ruckus that we caused got the Omega Squad's attention. Omega Squad? What's that? It's Eden Corp's Elite Task Force. I've got no leads on their actual identities, only some code names. However, one thing's clear, the reports I have say that they're all unlike any normal soldier and any military force on the planet, each of them defying at least one of the natural laws of the world. Alice's grip tightens on her keyboard a bit, clicking her tongue as she lays each incomplete profile that she displays on the screens. They're all very dangerous, and at least one of them might very well be in the charity party. I've also heard that there's some hired muscle here too, and they're all packing heat. I hope that whatever happens at the party doesn't tip them off and cause a gunfight. Oswald, Benji, Adrian, be careful. Benji scoffs while lightly stroking his fur. I exhale with a shaky breath, unable to stifle my uneasiness from the whole mission now. Hired muscle and some enigmatic super soldiers? You've got to be kidding me. It should be fine. It's only some Richie party. The databank's probably in the storage facility at the center, and those pompous idiots aren't gonna set foot in that dingy place. Still, if anything goes wrong, we'll handle it. Oswald appears to say it to Alice, but his gaze is on me. Is he trying to reassure me? Let's get to it. Midnight sun! Everyone nods without hesitation. Ellie is the first to stand and return to her lab after the briefing. Alice returns to working on the panels, and Max stretches a bit before leaning on the corner for a while. Best rest early today. Still have some training to do. Max turns to the hallway afterwards, leaving me with Oswald and Benji. Benji leaps off the bar stool, facing the two of us. Alright, I'm taking over his hand-to-hand combat training tomorrow, right? I raise my eyebrow at Benji, looking at Oswald afterward. Hand-to-hand combat? Keeping yourself skilled in both close and long-range combat is the best way to keep yourself alive. Luckily, excelling in one can also do that, but that's all a case-by-case basis. Your skills are just one big wild card, you know? So you're trying to see where I'm good at? Is that what you mean? Oswald nods enthusiastically at me, which is admittedly quite endearing. Suddenly, some ringing comes from Benji, the raccoon also surprised by it as well. Huh. It's Ray. Hold on, let me answer this. Benji takes the call, leaving Oswald and I alone to talk a bit more. Oswald looks at me rather gently, his gaze neither too intrusive nor too aloof. He pats me on the back, fully grasping my intention in a heartbeat. Come on, Adrian. Let's talk on the way. His other hand motions to the hallway, and I am more than happy to oblige. Sure. We begin to walk, neither of us really attempting to break the silence so far. Oswald places his hands onto his pocket, relaxed and seemingly undisturbed, unlike me. I'm thinking about so many things right now, and it's starting to overwhelm me to the point that I can't even describe them. Not even to myself. The mission, my life, the possibility of death, the people around me. It becomes a deafening ringing in my mind, each footstep making me fall deeper and deeper into an anxiety-filled collapse. Then he speaks. Hey, Adrian. Yes, Oswald? I never asked you how your day was while I was gone. So, how'd it go? How was my day? Huh. Well, I can pick a few things out from today. Probably going to have to skimp out on the shower, though. For obvious reasons. There was training with Benji, which was a mixed bag in and of itself. Then again, there is Ellie's exam to consider. Decisions. Tell me about Ellie. I had Ellie check out my ear today. Yeah? I was trying to ignore the chip. I'm glad that she was able to take care of it. Oswald sighs to himself, then averts his gaze from mine. What's wrong, Oswald? Nothing, Adrian. At least it healed quickly, right? He grins widely before giving off a soft chuckle. All thanks to my bandage skills, of course. Should I tell him that Ellie was the one that actually activated the bandage? All he essentially did was wrap my ear in a warm blanket. Then again, acting kind of cute. I'll let it slide. Sure, Oswald. We continued to talk a bit more, this time about his day in the bar. Unlike when I was there, it was mostly uneventful, and most of the DJs didn't seem to interest him either. While we continue to walk, a rather slender figure shoves past between us, revealing itself to be Benji coyly swishing his tail as he skips ahead of us, rather flippantly. Alright, you lovebirds, get a room. Benji chuckles before entering his room. His words linger in the air and cause me to become flushed. Ugh, that raccoon never fails to get under my skin. Lovebirds? Adrian? Lovebirds? I can feel my face getting red. This isn't good. Adrian, you're starting to heat up. Oswald places his paw on my shoulder, and I reflexively brush it away. I'm fine. Let me just calm down. Oh, okay. I take a few moments to let my emotions die down with a few deep breaths. I start feeling better, though I can't seem to get rid of his words ringing in my ears. Ugh, how embarrassing. Embarrassing? Sorry, Oswald. Benji's probably just trying to get under my skin. Oswald chuckles. Heh, happens to the best of us. Right? Besides us being lovebirds, a bit of a stretch, don't you agree? A few seconds pass. No response. I wait for a few more to pass. Complete silence. You agree, right? Oswald's only response is to nervously chuckle while rubbing his nape. You swing that way? The wolf's the one to get flustered this time. You'd be surprised. What? All this time? You were? Yes, I do prefer the company of men more. This... I wasn't expecting this at all! Really? Really? All of a sudden, a swarm of questions fill my brain, and I quickly switch gears to enter this whole rabbit hole that I've just discovered. Wha... Since when? Instead of indulging the question that I absent-mindedly blurted out, Oswald giggles while he opens his room door. I realize then that we both reached our bedrooms, much to my dismay. Now the wolf has an excuse to dodge my questions. Good night, Adrian. Oswald. Yeah. At this point, all I can do is laugh. What the heck is this coincidental, yet stupidly infuriating cliffhanger? I swear, this is the kind of stuff that Dylan would enjoy out of a good book. Now I have to live in it? Ugh. How frustrating to be kept in the dark. Yet, this is quite a big step in solving the mystery that is Oswald. Maybe he has the hots for me? Nah, that couldn't be it. Why would he be interested in a guy like me? I guess I'll just think about it later. Oh god. This whole scene. I enter my room and crash onto the bed, raring to get to the next day. I've made decent progress learning from some of the people in this group, and I hope I get to learn more. Like, what's up with Max? So, yeah, that's the end of the update. And what did you guys think? Is Benji being a bit more friendly a good thing? Because I kind of get like this feeling that while he is being nice, for the sake of being nice, he's also doing it for other reasons. Maybe because we remind him of someone or something. I don't know. We'll find out later, I guess. And it was obvious that Oswald was, you know, gay, or at the very least, he was bi. I don't know why I sound so upset about that. Because I'm not. It's just kind of funny. And yeah. I wonder if my Bo, the tiger, is also gay. Because, I can have 2 boyfriends. I can have 3 or 4 if I want. Anyways, yeah. So what did you guys think? Write down in the comments or whatever. I'll respond. Even if it's just some nonsensical stuff. Uh, eh. Anyways, thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Eden's Reach yourself, there will be a link down in the description. If you would like to support the project, there will also be a link down for a Patreon. And if you would like to follow Azzyford or Eden's Reach official Twitter accounts, I will also put links down for that. And I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.